Hello! In this video, you will probably think that we're actually gonna do some SuperMemo. But in reality, no. That's not what's gonna happen. Why? Because before diving in, you really have to understand some basic concepts, okay? I know that a lot of you are itching because we already had like 1 hour of lessons and you want to really get to know SuperMemo. But we're laying a foundation here, so please bear with me. I need you to be very conscious about what we're gonna do and how we're gonna do it. So, many people think that the flashcard is just like a Q&A, right? Or that closing random stuff is the way to go. Like if you come from Anki, which is another space repetition software, and you see all these closes made by hand, when let me tell you a simple trick, okay? First of all, what's a cloze? A cloze, like with a Z, instead of closing, like closing the door, which is that, with the panels on it. A cloze is when you take away a word from a sentence. I'm gonna put an example right above me. And you put square brackets with ellipses inside of it in the place of that word. So let's say Fowl is a, and you put into square brackets ellipses, and in the answer you put genius. Fowl is a very, to change the question, square brackets ellipses, very handsome man, right? This is it. Like this is a cloze, just putting square brackets and with ellipses inside of them and in place of some word, and you have to recognize which word is that. So the cloze is probably the fundamental unit of knowledge of SuperMemo. Yeah, like you cannot see it otherwise because it's the fastest tool. Is it the best? No. The cloze is not the best. This is why I get so confused when I see people doing flashcards by hands and making closes. I'm like, why? That's not efficient. I mean, it is no, it's not really efficient because time-wise it doesn't change much. You do closes when you incremental read stuff, which we'll see in like future lessons. But let me tell you, if you're doing items by hand for God forbid what reason, you don't want to use closes. You want to use Q&As because they are more personal to you. And a good rule of the thumb, I will link in the next video some formulation guide, and we will go deep into formulation later, in the later part of the course, probably the last one. But you have to know, like, how do I do closes? How do I format closes? What's the rule of the thumb? Is there a rule of the thumb, first of all? Is there a really solution for everything? There is not. And there is not. Honestly, there is not. But there are some simple and cheap tricks that you can use, and I'm gonna show you. Okay? So here we have our topic, right? And I'm gonna show you what the fundamental unit of knowledge is inside SuperMemo. So let's say you're doing items by hand, right? Okay. Who has the first, okay, I don't actually know, is it George Washington? First president of the United States of America? Is it George Washington? Yeah. George Washington. Okay, please look, this is a very simple one. Like this is just who's what, who's that, what's this, what's that. And those are the best because they're very simple. One thing you have to keep in mind is that your items have to be atomic. What does that mean? Like, it sounds so cringy, honestly, so cringy and cheesy. I don't know why I didn't choose another word, but after reading atomic everywhere or quantum, when I see the word quantum in a book that's not about physics, I cringe so much. But what is an atomic memory? An atomic memory is simply a memory that can sustain itself. So, in this case, you have who's the first president of the United States of America. You don't need really any other knowledge because everyone knows what a president is or have an idea, and everyone knows that America exists and that's a country, right? So you already have the concept of president and United States of America. So you're only adding one piece of knowledge that you didn't know, which is George Washington. In other cases, like very bad clauses could be formulated like this. So we're going on Wikipedia. We're going to look for the Krebs cycle. Isn't it Krebs? Scissor tag. Krebs cycle. Okay, let's see. Okay, like this is a nice sentence. So we do a new one, Alt+A. Let's paste it here, and when you paste stuff, they keep the formatting of their web page. So if you do Ctrl F6, okay, this is on the wrong component. We have to select this, Ctrl F6. Ask before doing Ctrl Shift 6. Okay, and you see here this HTML. So what you do is Ctrl Shift F12, which converts it to like plain text. Okay. In this question and in this piece of knowledge, okay, first of all, put Krebs cycle column. And you actually realize that you want this in a topic so that you can do clauses on that topic. Okay, so you have Krebs cycle. I usually do this so that I know that it's basically my title. You could use references, which we'll see very soon. But, okay, you have Krebs cycle. The reactions of the cycle are carried out by 8 enzymes. And now I'm gonna underline some words for you. Enzymes that completely oxidize acetate, 2-carbon molecule, in the form of acetyl-CoA into 2 molecules of carbon dioxide and water. I am gonna go, and I think you know what carbon dioxide is, but for the sake of this. So let's say you wanted to do a cloze. And you say, I want to close this, because this is what I want to know. And this is how I see many Anki closes are like. But this is actually a bad cloze, because it has stuff. If you don't know the Krebs cycle, this is a very bad cloze. If you do, it's not. But you don't, so it is. Why? Because you do not actually know what an enzyme is. You think you know what an enzyme is, but could you define it? What are you thinking? Like some Ditto-like micro creature that changes stuff? That's not what an enzyme is. It has a very specific definition. And so you're thinking, why you're not giving us the definition? Because I don't remember it. And so what? And what does it mean to oxidize? And what the hell is acetate? Right? And when I see clozes like this one, by the way, what I did here was Alt+Z, simply Alt+Z the word, and it creates an item with that highlighted keyword in the answer component and your square brackets with ellipses. The problem here is that this is not atomic. It has other pieces of information that, one, you do not know, second, you do not need. So, you want to know that okay, if you want to transform this, you would have into an atomic item. You would have first to know what acetate is. So we're gonna do acetate, right click. There's some, I don't remember, web search. I wanted to do it with shortcuts, but I want to show you with like right click. So acetate, oh nice. So we maybe look even at a picture. Maybe you want this type of picture, so you download this picture. And beware, like this is the most common error. Do not study stuff that you don't know. And SuperMemo is so good at like keeping you on the right path. Oh man, and here we're gonna go down like a rabbit hole, but let's say that, okay, let's do Alt-N, Alt-A for the item, not Alt-N. Alt-A, you want to change the template, Ctrl-Shift-M, arrow down, item picture. So here, it should probably be in desktop, so. Why is it not in desktop? Please cut this part. Control Q. Acetate. Okay. And here we're gonna put this, Ctrl-Shift-F12 is the, and we should have done this in a topic, but for the sake of it, I'm gonna make an handmade cloze, okay? Delete this, and here you have more stuff that you probably don't know, like what is acetic acid and a base. For the sake of it, we're gonna see that in this case you know it, otherwise this is gonna go down a very long path before you actually start forming coherent knowledge, right? Look at how cool this is. How can people say that SuperMemo is not cool? Fuckers. I put this under the wrong thing, okay. So now you actually know what acetate is, but if you don't, please refrain, abstain, whatever, from doing clozes on stuff that you don't know, okay? So, how to do a cloze? Rule of the thumb, one word is usually enough. If you're closing more than 5 words, it's probably a bad cloze. Sometimes let's say 2 words are generally fine if they contain only one piece of knowledge. If you're closing, let's say my favorite elements are acetate and acetic acid, and you're doing the cloze on acetate and acetic acid like all together, you're doing wrong. You're wrong. you're making a mistake, a huge one, because those are two pieces of knowledge, and our clozes are the fundamental unit one of knowledge. So you have to have one piece of knowledge for every cloze. And you're gonna say, but Fowl, this is gonna make me so many flashcards. I don't care. It's better to have 10 very easy flashcards to remember stuff than like 2 difficult ones, because it's gonna take so much more time. And it doesn't work. Complex clozes just do not work. And you will start making all these humongous clozes without knowing what they talk about, okay? So, I'll show you something. I was studying for this exam, and my professor was talking about, okay, let's say this. About this technique, the PCR, but combined with RFLP, and I didn't know what this meant, and I was just studying like this name, and I was like, yeah, obviously it's something, and then at some point I realized, okay, I actually don't know what this is. So I had to start making clozes or Q&As from this page, because I needed that knowledge to actually really understand what I was studying. Because there was this simple like cloze. We used and there was cloze, PCR, RFLP for eggs diagnosis. I don't remember what was that, what that was, and it was fine, honestly. I could have done without, because my professor wouldn't probably have asked, but my knowledge would have not been like solid enough to keep all that together, because you actually have some unit of knowledge that you don't know inside your cloze, which should be minimal. Your clozes should be minimalistic and fundamentally atomic. Okay, atomic just means that you're learning one piece of knowledge, one new piece of knowledge for that. And if I'm learning one usage of this technique, that is the piece of knowledge, not the technique. The technique itself is another piece of knowledge, and that one has to go into another cloze, not the same one. This is a fundamental rule that you have not heard before, and that you must not violate. Like, this is the main error that people do, the most common one. People do these long clozes, or even like when I see Anki decks, this is the main problem. People take stuff for granted. You cannot make a good deck and share it if you do not put every single piece of information inside of it. If the person reading the deck already knows the RFLP, good for him. But you have to always assume that first you don't know stuff, you will forget that, and that the person that will read that deck, because probably you're doing that deck for sharing in Anki, will not know what that is about. And you cannot expect people to always look for it. You have to, if you want to make a good job in making decks, you have to give people that knowledge, okay? So, rule of the thumb, one piece of knowledge, of new knowledge for each cloze. If you have 2 pieces, you have to make another item, as I did here, right? I didn't know acetate here, but I didn't know the rest. So I just made an item about acetate. Sad thing, I don't actually know what acetic acid is. I don't remember actually. I've studied this. I had an exam on this, chemistry. But so you have to make one about acetic acid, and so on. And at some point you will say, okay, I don't really need to study the fundamental of chemistries, but at least knowing what the structure is, so that if one day you will need those fundamentals, which you will will probably do, by the way, you will have a very easy time studying it, because you will have so many pieces of coherent knowledge, and you will say, oh, okay, this is the rule that ties them up all together. Or just watch some videos made on YouTube. Like, there are people able to explain my chemistry course in 30 to 40 minutes, okay? Like, YouTube is an amazing place, use that. And make, you could do incremental video, but we're gonna talk about that much later in this course. Just make some Q&A by hand while you follow the video, or just take notes and then read your notes inside SuperMemo and make closes like this. By the way, closes in my style are yellow. Extracts, which means when you cut a part of this, so you do Alt+X, are this pink, and makes it into another subtopic, okay? Extracts and closes are the fundamental tools of SuperMemo. So, for the closing of this video, I want to emphasize that one word is usually enough. You can sometimes close one verb and this and its object, because that can be a fundamental unit of knowledge, like one atomic memory. If you don't know what an atomic memory is, Google it. Cannot explain. I mean, I should explain everything. This is a thing. I always want to explain everything because that's how it works. I can't take things for granted, and you cannot for yourself. Okay. So if I extend this courtesy to you, please you extend this courtesy to yourself. Okay. So one word is usually enough. 3 words can be doable. Sometimes if you have an object and a verb, it can go up to 5 words. Otherwise, more than 5 words is usually a very bad close. It's a very good rule of thumb. 1 to 3 words, it's so-so. 1 word is ideal. 1 word closes are the best. And if you need hints, put hints between brackets. I'm gonna show you, okay? So what's the first? Let's say I have something I don't know the context. My favorite is, and you say, what the fuck is this? And food. You could have said my favorite food is, but I don't know, fries or pizza. I'm Italian, so let's say pizza. And you have this, right? Let's make it, okay. And you're thinking, yes, but this item doesn't make sense. Sometimes it will. Okay, this specific case does not make sense. But sometimes you will have very generalized questions. And beware, if you have very generalized question, you need hints, or you need a title or the reference below. Why? Because if you have 2,000 top items or more, you will forget what that item is about. And this is the big risk with atomic knowledge, that you lose the track. Like, what does this belong to? And you don't know. You don't know what topic are we talking about. So, how do you solve that problem? First, with my plugin, which I'll show you later in this course. Second, hints, or the title above, or the references that we're gonna see maybe in the next video. And with that, you will know what your item is about. This is very important. Do not make overgeneralized items, okay? Otherwise, you will not know the answer because you will get confused. If you get confused, you're screwed. Your items must be as clear as possible. So you do need sometimes some more knowledge inside your question. You already have to know that, so you have to make other items for that. But if that knowledge is an anchor, it's fine. Obviously, please don't abuse of this principle, because I can already see some crazy people doing like 10 lines of items, like an item of 10 lines, and I'm shivering. Like if it's more than one paragraph, it's wrong, okay? One paragraph, one sentence, 2 sentences is already pushing the boundaries of good item making, okay? So 1 sentence must be enough. 2 is stretching. It's a little bit bad, but not too bad. 3, definitely bad. 3 sentences, you're doing a mess. The best clause is subject, verb, object, okay? So subject, action, recipient of the action. And with that, I think I said everything. Let me repeat one time. 1 word, 1 sentence, as short as possible. 1 period is best. The principle, so again, subject, verb, object, that's the best. If you need some compliments, please go ahead, but don't overdo it, okay? Use common sense. Use common sense. After I said all of this to you, just use common sense. If you think that for 1 item you have to make 2 sentences, you can let it slide. If you see that you have 3 items with 2 sentences made in the span of 5 minutes, you're doing something wrong. Stop. Stop. Just stop. Reformulate. Calm down. Watch some Netflix. And then go back to SuperMemoing. Okay? Okay. Hope I've been clear for this video. Hope that this will be useful. And please write down this stuff inside your SuperMemo. And we will see how to close that stuff in the next video.